Hey everyone, ready for a deep dive? Today we're tackling the psychology of trading. And let me tell you, this one's a doozy. We're cracking open The Disciplined Trader by Mark Douglas.
Yeah, this one's a classic.
It's all about how our own minds can make or break us in the market.
You know, what I find fascinating about Douglas is he doesn't even mess around with, stock picks or anything.
Yeah.
He goes straight for the jugular. How our everyday thinking can totally sabotage our trading.
Okay, now that's interesting. I mean, most of us like to think we're pretty rational, right?
Mm-hmm.
What is it about trading that's so different from, say, our everyday decisions?
We see trading, it kind of tricks you. Those early wins, they're seductive. Our brains, they just love that reward. And suddenly, trading seems deceptively simple.
Oh, I know that feeling.
Douglas, he compares it to gambling, but with a twist.
Okay, now you've got me hooked. What's the twist?
Well, think about it. In gambling, the odds are usually pretty clear-cut. You know what you stand to win or lose. But trading, it's like the wild, wild west out there. The potential for profit or loss, it's limitless. And that can really mess with our heads. Way more than we realize.
Ugh, tell me about it. I remember this one time I chased a hot stock tip and boom, watched my portfolio go up in smoke. My emotions totally took over.
That's got to be a big part of what Douglas is talking about, right? Fear.
Bingo. Fear, my friend, is the silent assassin of trading accounts.
It's not just about losing money, though, is it?
No, it's deeper than that. It's the fear of being wrong, of looking stupid, that hesitation to pull the trigger, the second guessing when you should be buying or selling. It all stems from fear. And you know what, Douglas, he's really open about how he learned this the hard way. Ooh, he had some tough lessons along the way.
Oh, yeah. He hit rock bottom, financially speaking, calls it a forced awareness. Like he was forced to confront those fear-driven behaviors head on. But that's what ultimately led him to understand the importance of discipline, of having those ironclad trading rules that you just don't break no matter what.
Okay, so how do we, rewire our brains to not be ruled by those primal emotions?
Yeah.
How do we escape that fear trap?
Well, Douglas, he's all about structure, like building a mental fortress in the middle of a chaotic battlefield. He gives this example of traders who avoid tracking their positions too closely.
Yeah, I get that. Ignorance is bliss, or so they say. Out of sight, out of mind.
Right, but Douglas would say they're just dodging accountability. Because if you don't face your losses head on, you're basically blaming the market instead of your own decisions.
So taking ownership of those wins and losses, that's key. This is where it gets really interesting, though. Douglas says our beliefs actually shape our trading reality. What's that all about?
Okay, imagine this. A guy standing on a busy street corner handing out $100 bills.
Okay, I'm picturing it.
Would you believe him? Most people wouldn't, right? They'd assume it's some kind of scam. And that's the thing. Our beliefs, they're powerful. They can make us blind to opportunities even when they're staring us right in the face.
It's like we've got blind spots we don't even know about. So how do we, challenge those deeply ingrained beliefs, especially when it comes to trading?
Well, Douglas, he suggests actually doing some exercises, like try to pinpoint those conflicting beliefs we hold. For example, a lot of new traders think trading is easy money, but that kind of contradicts the reality, doesn't it? The reality is it takes dedication, discipline, hard work.
A lot of traders I know are big on journaling. Is that part of what Douglas recommends?
Absolutely. He's a huge advocate for journaling because when you write things down, it brings those, subconscious thoughts and beliefs to the surface. And once you can see them, you can start to dismantle the ones that are holding you back and replace them with something more empowering. It's a process, but an essential one for sure.
So it's about figuring out those recurring thoughts and doubts that keep popping up.
Exactly. You got to become a detective of your own mind, figure out what makes you tick. We keep tossing around this word environment. And Douglas, he's really big on understanding the trading environment because it's really unlike anything else we face in life.
Yeah, the market definitely has a mind of its own.
Yeah.
What makes it so different psychologically, would you say?
Well, let's think about it. In our everyday lives, there's a certain structure, right? Cause and effect, it's usually pretty clear. You put in the work, you see the results, you study hard, you get good grades, you land the job. But the market doesn't care about your effort or your intentions. It doesn't even care about your feelings.
That's kind of scary when you put it like that. So no room for emotions in the market, huh?
Not if you're looking for long-term success, no. One of the things Douglas talks about, and it really messes with people, is that unlimited potential for profit and loss.
Yeah, it's a double-edged sword for sure.
Totally. It messes with our sense of security because we're naturally wired to, seek safety and avoid danger.
Which is interesting because with trading, those two things, risk and reward, they're always right there, intertwined.
Precisely. It's a constant push and pull. He actually compares it to gambling. But even with gambling, there's a limit, right? The most you can lose is what you put on the table. But trading, every trade, it feels like it could make or break you, at least emotionally.
Oh, I've been there. That
Yeah.
feeling of, what if this keeps going against me? It's exhilarating and terrifying at the same time.
And that's exactly why so many traders, they get caught in this cycle of random winning and losing. They might have some early wins, beginner's luck, let's call it, but without a structured approach, those wins, they dry up.
Like trying to navigate a maze blindfolded. You might stumble on the exit once, but good luck doing it again.
Perfect analogy. And as those losses start piling up, those primal fears, they come out to play. And remember how we talked about structure? Well, some traders, they resist it like the plague.
Why is that? It seems counterintuitive, like they'd want some guidelines.
Well, Douglas, he says it's about avoiding accountability. Because if you don't have a plan, if you don't have rules, you can always just blame the market for your losses. The market was against me today. Sounds a lot better than I made a bunch of impulsive decisions based on my emotions, right?
So it's easier to protect our egos than to face the music. But Douglas, he doesn't stop there. He connects our own personal psychology to the market as a whole, doesn't he?
He does. He argues that the market is basically a reflection of the combined fears and hopes of all the individual traders participating in it.
So each trade is like a tiny vote of confidence, or lack thereof. Fascinating. So how do we go from feeling like a small fish in a huge pond to actually understanding the movements of the entire school?
Douglas would tell you to start asking yourself a specific set of questions before you even think about hitting that buy or sell button.
Like what? Give me an example.
Okay, let's say you're watching a stock that's been climbing steadily, making higher highs, higher lows. Very tempting to jump on that bandwagon, really.
Oh yeah, FOMO's a real thing.
For sure. But Douglas would say, hold on a second. Analyze the situation. Ask yourself, what are the beliefs of the traders who are driving this upward momentum?
So trying to get inside the heads of those who are winning.
Exactly. Then ask yourself, what would have to happen for those beliefs to change? What news, what event would make them start doubting this upward trend?
So looking for the cracks in the armor, the things that might spook them.
Yes. And don't forget to look at the other side of the coin. What would it take to bring the bears out? What would make them start betting against this stock?
This is starting to sound like a detective game, like we're searching for clues to crack the case of the market's next move.
I like that because just like a good detective, you're gathering evidence, right? You're not just relying on your gut feeling.
It's making a lot more sense now. By analyzing the beliefs of other traders, you can anticipate those shifts in sentiment before they even happen.
Exactly. You're not just reacting to the market anymore. You're aiming to stay one step ahead.
No, that's a powerful feeling. So we've covered fear, structure, going with the flow. What other psychological traps should traders be aware of?
One that Douglas highlights is our very human need for certainty in an environment that thrives on uncertainty.
It's funny, isn't it? We crave certainty in a world that's anything but certain, especially in the markets.
It's true. We want guarantees. We want to know without a shadow of a doubt that if we make this trade, we'll make money. But the market... well, the market loves to keep us guessing. It's constantly changing, throwing curveballs left and right. And that's where a lot of traders stumble. They get so married to their predictions that they refuse to adapt when things don't go their way.
They'd rather be right than profitable. I've seen it happen time and time again.
And you know what often lies at the root of that? Ego.
Oh, the ego.
When our egos get involved, losses, they become personal. Suddenly, it's not just about the money, it's about our intelligence, our ability to predict the future.
And that's when they dig in their heels instead of cutting their losses.
Right, exactly. They double down, triple down, trying to prove the market wrong, even when it's a losing battle.
Like fighting the tide. So how do we escape that trap? How do we cultivate what Douglas calls a winning attitude?
You know, it's funny. It's not about like slapping on a fake smile and thinking positive. It's much deeper than that. It's about a fundamental shift in perspective.
Okay, I'm listening.
Someone with a winning attitude, they embrace uncertainty. They understand that risk is part of the game, that losses are inevitable.
It's not about avoiding losses. It's about accepting them as part of the process.
Yes, 100%. And maybe even more importantly, it's about not letting those losses define you. And that's a tough one for most people to wrap their heads around. We're conditioned to avoid losses at all costs, right?
Right.
But Douglas, he makes this really compelling argument that this aversion to loss, it's actually what holds traders back from reaching their full potential.
It keeps us playing it small, afraid to take calculated risks that might lead to bigger rewards down the line.
Exactly. A trader with a winning attitude, they embrace the possibility of being wrong because they see the market for what it is, an objective feedback mechanism. It's constantly giving you information, telling you what's working and what's not.
So it's about detaching your ego from the outcome of every single trade.
Exactly. Focus on the process, on consistently applying your strategies and rules. Trust that over time, the probabilities will work in your favor.
That long-term vision, that trust in the process, that's what sets them apart.
And that trust, it all boils down to self-discipline.
Which, as we all know, is easier said than done.
For sure.
Yeah.
Listen to how Douglas defines self-discipline. Doing what needs to be done, when it needs to be done, whether you feel like it or not. It's about having that inner compass that keeps you on course.
No matter how chaotic things get around you.
Exactly. And that level of self-mastery, well, it doesn't just happen overnight. It takes effort, it takes constant reflection, and it takes a willingness to learn from those inevitable mistakes. But that's how you grow.
It's as much about mastering yourself as it is about mastering the markets, isn't it?
Couldn't have put it better myself. And the best part is, Douglas actually provides practical exercises you can use to develop that winning attitude, to rewire your thinking, to reprogram those automatic reactions.
It's not just about reading the charts, it's about reading yourself.
Exactly. Understanding your own biases, your fears, those tendencies that might be holding you back, that's absolutely crucial for consistent success in trading.
This has been a real eye-opener. Honestly, I'm realizing a lot of my own struggles as a trader haven't been about the market at all. It's been my mindset this whole time.
And you know what? That's a huge first step. Once you can see those internal obstacles for what they are, you can start breaking them down.
It's like those optical illusions. You need to shift your perspective to see the full picture.
And that, my friend, is where the real transformation begins.
For our listeners who are ready to take that deep dive into the mind of a trader, I highly recommend checking out Douglas's book. It's a game changer.
It's a fantastic reminder that the most powerful tool we have as traders isn't some fancy indicator or algorithm. It's the one between our ears, our minds.
Our minds are the ultimate trading platform. Until next time, everyone, keep those minds sharp,